2 runs and a pair of hits. He struck out 3 and walked 3. Nick Gonzalez hit a key 2-run single for the Pirates. Jack Sawinski went deep. The Yankees pounded the White Sox 7-2 in the Bronx on Sunday. New York has wins in 7 straight. They finished off a 3-game sweep over the Sox. Aaron Judge hit his 13th homer of the season and 7th in 13 games. Carlos Rodon won his 3rd straight start for New York. The Bulls are adding to their coaching staff former Wizards head coach Wes Unseld Jr. and Clippers assistant Dan Krager joining coach Billy Donovan's staff as top assistants. Donovan's remaking his staff after the departure of Chris Fleming and Josh Longstaff's acceptance of a new job as the second assistant with Charlotte. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America, N.A.
Something amazing is happening in education. Students are inspired and engaged. That's because school districts consulted with CDW, who designed modern classroom solutions with pre-configured HP devices, making learning more accessible, secure, and immersive. Now, when students study topics like elephants, it feels like elephants are there with them. HP and CDW make amazing happen. Learn more at...
For exceptional home-cooked meals, visit the longest family-owned restaurant in Elgin. Paul's Family Restaurant at Lawrence and McLean takes pride in their fresh daily specials like steaks, fish, pasta, soups, and more. Paul's fresh buttermilk pancakes and breakfast skillets are phenomenal. As you walk in, you can't help but notice owner Elaine's wonderful eye for detail. The toughest decision you'll have to make is what size leftover box to take home. Call 847-695-8687.
How many times have you heard about or driven past the Volo Auto Museum and still haven't checked it out? They have over 200,000 square feet of heated showrooms filled with countless collections of the most amazing mechanical marvels in the world. From incredible collector cars, movie cars, trains, boats, and planes, to a Disney gallery, dinosaurs, vintage arcades, kiddie rides, and a medieval torture exhibit, plus the Titanic Museum. They're open every day from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Visit volofun.com.
Welcome to Out to Lunch with WRMN. My name is Dennis Sonar Green. I'll be taking you through this hour of Out to Lunch here on WRMN. Thank you very much for spending some time with us. Thank you for listening on all of the different ways that you could be listening. One of those such ways is, of course, 1410. That's an AM dial. One of the cool kids, if you remember a dial-up phone, if you remember a rotary phone, even if you remember a crank engine, AM is for you. That's where it's been. I'm sure that's for other people as well to jump in there, but AM. Those of you that have a future of like flying cars, where can we get in our DeLoreans? Things like that. Well, online, get a website, go right there. All you future techies, the Gen Xers that are out there helped usher in the internet as it goes. Well, you could find us on the web, WRMN1410.com. Or if you are one of the cool cats nowadays, one of the millennials or Zers that are out there, that would be watching radio on the YouTube side. I mean, I hate to make all of these pathways generational, but this is essentially statistics at this point. And then if you are even cooler and you're a Z, then you don't have time for live streaming radio. You want to catch it on the afterwards. Hop in your DeLorean, jump into the future, and watch it on YouTube as it goes. To help me generate this content, to help me push this content to the world, you guessed it, that is my favorite executive producer in the world. That's Ben Demonium Boquist. Thank you, sir, for being here with me today.
Hey, yes. Happy Monday, everybody. And you know what? I fall into two of those categories because luckily I was just cranking up my flying car. So I was watching on YouTube, and the radio was on AM, too. It's a pretty good delay. The AM was coming in a little quicker.
That's it. Yeah, the AM will actually reach you faster than the phone, if that's what you're listening to right now.
Yeah.
The AM will get to you quicker. It's neat. It's neat to see how quick things will go. I think the longest delay right now is the video, and the video on YouTube, I think, is still maybe under 20 seconds, I would say. So even then, that's still not much of a delay.
Not bad, but you get to see our shining faces.
That's it. And you mentioned it was Monday. That's right. It's a motivational Monday, Benjamin. I wanted to get some motivation out into the world today. Some let's get some stuff done type of motivation. It's one of my favorite quotes that are out there, and we'll get into it. But the first thing I want to ask you is, how was your weekend? How was it? I hope it was well.
Oh, great, man. Yeah, I just relaxed and enjoyed the weather. It was, amazing, as always. How about yourself?
Good. No, it was good. I definitely enjoyed the weather as well. The misses not so much because it was super high pollen. My goodness, it was scratchy eyes and runny noses for all of the people that are like that in my family.
No fun. Yeah, I'm so glad I don't have any of those allergies. It's like we're such a pollen place, Illinois, especially Evanston with the cottonwood. The first year I was out here, I had a reaction to the cottonwood, but I guess I got over it. Like, it's no fun when your eyes are just itchy.
Yeah. Just constantly itchy with no help, but dry eyes.
Yeah. No, for real.
That's it. Ben Stein. Ben Stein used to be everywhere, man. People used to win his money.
Yeah, and now he's just like someone people kind of the last couple things that I see. I'll just say I didn't like what I saw from Ben Stein.
Now just stick with Bueller and you'll be okay.
Yeah. Sure. I think Ben Stein's money was his best PR.
And to be honest, that was mostly Kimmel.
Yeah, sure.
Was helping that helping that along.
Forgot about that.
And that was mostly his day job so that he could continue to do the man show in the in the evenings. They were like, okay, you could do the man show in the evenings, but you have to babysit Ben Stein's money.
With the guy who talks real slow?
Yeah, exactly. He's a smart guy, but we can't do anything with him. That's it. And speaking of being a smart guy, that's what I've got for Motivational Monday today, Ben. And I hope you jump in at any place that you see fit, because it kind of goes. It was motivated to kind of get that motivational side of it by what we talked about on Friday with Marcus. With about the exposure aspect of it, about how education comes from different places. Education comes from experience. Education comes from nurture. Education comes from, it doesn't always just come from a textbook and a lecture, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a lecture on it. So it's there. I didn't say it doesn't come from there. I just said it doesn't always come from there. So welcome to Motivational Monday. Today, everybody, we are delving into the profound wisdom of the Stoic philosopher Epictetus. That is spelled Epic, Epictetus, Epictetus. Captured in his timeless quotes, absolutely one of my favorites. Only the educated are free. Now I love it. I just want to sit on that for just a second, Benjamin. Only the educated are free. Now, right at the top, it's like, well, that sounds pretty elitist. If you don't have an education, if I don't have a piece of paper, if I don't have a college degree or a doctorate or a master's or whatever, then I'm not free. No. It's different than that. Let's just take it for 1 second, the historical context behind it. To truly grasp the meaning of the statement, we need to explore the context in which it was conceived. Epictetus, I always call him Epictetus because it's just faster. Epictetus, born around 50 AD in present-day Turkey, began his life as a slave. Despite this, he managed to rise to promise as one of those the most influential Stoic philosophers. His journey from slavery to philosophical enlightenment exemplifies the transformative power of education, not just in the conventional sense, but the cultivation of wisdom and virtue. Epictetus' teachings emphasize that true freedom is not mere a state of being, but a condition of the mind. He argued that freedom is the ability to live in accordance with one's principles, free from tyranny of external circumstances. So right there, just that one definition of freedom. Everybody's got definitions of freedom, right? The I can do this, you can do that, then we're all happy, right? Is that side of it. But this brings it more into it. He argued that freedom is the ability to live in accordance with one's principles, free from the tyranny of external circumstances. So what this is living by your beliefs for yourself and not being affected by somebody else's beliefs. Even then, we talk about the First Amendment, Benjamin. What does the First Amendment guarantee before it guarantees freedom of religion? From religion. That's right, Benjamin. See, the number one student over here. It's mostly because I make him listen to all of my shows. So that's it right there. It's freedom from religion, freedom from an external force, freedom from the government, to live by your principles for there. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I get it done in one word, man.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's dead on. It's like it's so easy to take that quote and be like, and apply it to today's world and see how people think of it, like apply it the wrong way, where they're like, oh, I'll just go through this whatever process to get this degree. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, I know a lot of people with degrees and accolades and this and that who really don't know their mouth from a hole in the ground. So it's one of those things that it can be misinterpreted or kind of taken the wrong way. Like knowledge and education don't always go hand in hand, but it's obviously one of those things. Yeah, you're more likely to feel free, understand freedom if you have the knowledge, which comes from educating yourself. So.
Exactly. And those forms of education too, Ben. You and I know a buddy of ours named Jim Blassingame, who always talked about the two sides of that education side, where it was content and context. By all means, I can read a book about piloting a aircraft. I can read that book. I can get that content. It's right there in front of me. There are the facts. You push this button, you throw that lever, you spin this wheel, you look at this gauge. That can all be written down. But without the context of, you got to push that button, but you have to push that button immediately after you spin this wheel this way and only this many times before you push that button. You know what I mean? That's where that context comes in.
And it feels like this as you're moving through the air doing it, right?
Exactly. And remember, when you push that button, the whole plane may shift or lurch to one side. So be ready, because you may have to reach for this thing over here. So those buttons are there. Those things are there. It's the same thing with how we drive this ship here with the soundboard and routing of video and audio and everything else at the same time. I can tell you all day what that is. I can give you a book. I can give you the content. But if you don't sit here and actually drive it for a while, you don't have the context behind it. So that's what we're talking about here, the Stoic definition of education. In the Stoic sense, education transcends traditional schooling. It encompasses the development of inner virtues, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. The virtues empower individuals to navigate life's challenges with resilience and clarity. Those are the tools of that education of it, that internal education, that self-awareness that's there. It's for the Stoic side of everything, that's where that comes into, is your own personal profile and your own personal character, and having these tools to walk through the world. But you can also take it into that broader sense of education, of continuing education, of being part of a club that you're interested in. And I'm not saying just go out there and get an education just for the dollars. Get an education on a hobby that you enjoy or a skill that you'd like to learn. YouTube is chock full of beginner type of things, but I would suggest jumping into a club, getting into a thing. Ben, have you ever been in a hobby club, even if it was in school or something, where you guys all kind of came around over something?
I'm not really a club kind of guy, but I was more of a circle person. I'd fall into circles of people who would go, for example, to the football games on the Friday nights, or the hacky sack crew. We'd be at lunchtime. You'd go out to the. They'd let you go outside and you'd play hacky sack, or you'd do this or the other thing. Maybe in grade school you'd play Crazy Bones or whatever. But I was more of a, I'm not going to sign up to be in a club. More so like, let's meet by the fence after school and we'll shoot marbles kind of thing.
No, I absolutely understand that. So you flock to people who have similar interests, right? Even if it's not an official club with a president and a parliamentarian or anything like that. We've just a group.
The dynamic always presents itself in a group situation, though, doesn't it?
Absolutely. No, you're always going to get that too. You're always going to have somebody that raises their hand and says, "I'll make a calendar." So here's the other side of it too, is the practical applications of the Stoic education, and not necessarily a Stoic education, but an education towards freedom. The side of look at it as the information that comes to you as well. If you've already experienced the truth first, when that other side of the education comes over to you, or somebody is off by something, that's where that group mentality comes in, where you're saying, okay, well, wait a minute. Yeah, you said that was a 1/4 inch, but actually it's an 1/8 inch, or it's a 2.5 or something. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
Like iron sharpens iron. Is the phrase that I've heard before. Is I never want to be the smartest person in the room. I hate it. I hate being the smartest person in the room because I can't learn anything. I'm constantly trying to learn something. Can I see something? Can I experience a thing? Even if it's learning something about another person, to see that experience that there. So here's the practical applications of that education. Let's consider the modern implications of the insight. In our professional lives, education enables us to approach challenges with problem-solving mindset rather than being paralyzed by fear and frustration, right? If I don't know anything, I'm going to get hit with a problem and go, oh my gosh, what do I do? I'm drowning. It encourages continuous growth and adaptation, qualities essential in an ever-changing job market. Moreover, education fosters ethical decision-making, guiding us to act with integrity even when faced with difficult choices. For instance, imagine facing a significant challenge at work, such as a tight deadline or a complex project. An educated approach involves breaking down the problem, analyzing potential solutions, and applying critical thinking to determine the best course of action. This methodological approach not only helps in overcoming immediate obstacles, but also builds a foundation for future problem solving. In our professional lives, education helps us build meaningful relationships and understand diverse perspectives. So the more experience that you have, the more education, right? I'm not just saying flat out education. Education has a kind of like dirty word for it, right? It's there to not necessarily be the institutionalized education. We've all had those experiences with an elder where they either taught us how to fish or maybe to drive or how to cook a special recipe. That is education. That is something that is experience that's there. It's not just you sitting down somewhere and absorbing something that's coming into you. It's tangible. It's something that creates that memory. Before we go, Ben, do you have any memories of an adult or an older person kind of teaching you a skill that you have right now, like maybe skipping rocks or anything like that?
Oh, of course. I mean, you bring up driving. I remember my mom, around the time when my brother was learning how to drive, took both of us to a parking lot just to drive around. That was my first time driving. It was really cool because I was only 13 years old, so I could drive a little bit. My mom was right there, and it was just a small parking lot, I think in the school by our house that I went to. So that was another cool element of it. It was like I was driving around, you know.
There you go.
No one was there, and yeah. Always learned a little bit how to drive. And then a couple of years later, I was parking golf carts, so that came in handy.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. We'll be right back. We're going to talk a little bit more about some motivational side of the world. Call in 847-931-1410. Let's talk about education a little bit today. And let's talk about how the more knowledge, the more experience you have, the easier it is to navigate the world. You're listening to WRMN Out to Lunch. How do you think education can transform not just our minds, but our lives? WRMN will be right back after these.
Everyone has a community to lean on, a neighborhood, school, kids' teams, where you worship, work out, or any other place or group where you choose to belong. Communities can provide support when you need it, and even when you don't know you do. Like when it comes to preventing underage drinking and other substance use. You've talked with your kids and shared clear expectations, but you're not with them every minute. Your community members, friends and relatives, teachers and coaches, faith leaders, and other important adults in your kids' lives can be your eyes, ears, and a supportive influence when you're not around, reinforcing your messages with your kids and alerting you to warning signs of underage drinking or other substance use. So talk with your kids about these issues and involve the members of your community to help keep your kids safe, because when you talk, they hear you.
Clocking out? Drive home with the Drive Time Deal with Matt McNeil on WRMN 1410 AM every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. I bring you the hottest deals in town, the most intriguing stories, and the tracks that take the edge off rush hour. Tune in on 1410 AM. Catch us on YouTube Live at WRMN Radio or stream through our app. I've got the wheel to steer your evening right. WRMN 1410 AM, your home of radio shopping and the soundtrack to your commute.
Rise and shine, Fox Valley listeners. It's time to kickstart your day with First Shift with Marky B on WRMN 1410 AM. From 6 to 9 a.m., join the chatter that gets you clued in with the latest buzz around town. Don't just sip on your coffee. Let Marky B brew your morning with the perfect mix of news, views, and moves. Dial us in or live stream at WRMN1410.com and make your mornings a whole lot brighter. WRMN 1410 AM. We're the voice of the Valley, and we're here to talk.
This is McGruff the Crime Dog, and I need you to help me take a bite out of crime. Counterfeit products are popping up everywhere. Fake sneakers, fake cosmetics, and even fake pills. Crooks are selling counterfeit versions of just about everything. Last year, billions of dollars worth of counterfeit products were sold in the U.S. Sure, it may seem like saving a few bucks on the things you want isn't a big deal, but counterfeits are usually made in unsafe conditions, potentially using hazardous and even lethal ingredients that could harm you and others. And the money you've paid, it goes right into the hands of criminals and may support child labor, drugs, and even gangs. Smells like big crime to me. So if you still think buying fake products is harmless, think again. And remember, if you don't know where the products came from, how could you know where the money goes? You're smart, buy smart. Go for real. Learn more at mcgruffpsa.org. This message is brought to you by the United States Patent and Trademark Office and the National Crime Prevention Council.
For local information and fun times in the mornings, listen to Marky B and Larry Jones on the first shift.
Maybe we need to get a radio intern in to help you.
Maybe so.
Somebody that you won't have to pay and you can treat them tough.
I can haze them.
You can't haze. You'll get fired. Remember that guy from Northwestern?
Yeah.
Gone.
Did he really do it?
You don't have to really do it. If somebody says you did,
yeah,
good enough. Maybe I'm going to accuse you of hazing me. I don't have to prove it.
It's the first shift, weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. right here on WRMN.
Keep informed with everything that's going on with the Radio Shopping Show by joining our VIP text club today. All you have to do is text the message WRMN 1410 to the number 94253 and you're in. You'll receive timely information about Shopping Show specials instantaneously as they happen. Message and data rates may apply. The voice of the Valley and the home of the Radio Shopping Show, we are WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
Welcome back to Out to Lunch with WRMN. WRMN, the talk of the town, the voice of the Valley, the home of radio shopping. Where can I find more information about radio shopping? They asked Dennis Green. Well, that would be WRMN1410.com. Right there on the side. You can either watch us or you can browse the library. It's on both sides. Right there, left and right, back and forth. Go in there. He said, responding back, why am I narrating? Well, because we've got a great new show coming up. My goodness, I hope you didn't miss last Monday's show. That's Open Book with the Gail Born Public Library. GailBorden.info, 1 to 2 p.m. every Monday. Sponsored by KCT Credit Union. If you missed it, just don't worry about it. You never really miss it. You can go right to the YouTube side, watch that there. First episode already done, up there in the world. I'll verify that right now with head of production. That would be my executive producer, Ben Demonium Boquest. That Open Book show, man, it was pretty good. It was pretty good last week.
Yeah, go check it out and see everything that's going on at the Gail Borden Library. Great place. I'm so glad that they're in every week now, and you can hear about everything, all the goings on.
Every week, sponsored by KCT Credit Union. Become a part of KCT, where your financial well-being is their top priority. Visit kctcu.org. That's KCTCU. Because it's kctcreditunion.org right there. 1 to 2. So they're going to follow us up. They're going to come right into it. That's kind of why I want to do this Motivational Monday with you, sir. And it's about the education side of it, where education doesn't necessarily have to come from an institution. As an autodidact myself, I love the library. I love to learn things. I love to read. I have you see my e-paper book right there. It's not just for me to put the scribblings of a madman into a digital format. It's so that I can sit back and actually read. I've got a good, 50, 60 books on there that I keep in a regular side. And then I also subscribe to a whole bunch of different things. If you already have a public library card, I'll tell you one of the great things that you can subscribe to. Hoopla. Hoopla. Hoopla is a fantastic app. I'm sorry?
Isn't the other one like Libby or something like that?
Yes, Libby is another one as well. If you have a public library card, you can sign up and actually download content directly to your phone. You're literally borrowing it from the digital side of it. I am absolutely certain that the Gail Borden Library participates, or any of your local libraries that are out there. You can download books, you can download audio books, and you could even go as far as albums and movies and television series. So anything that you could really download or borrow at the library may have a digital component. And you could check out Hoopla. I think it's hoopla.org, Ben. It's been a while since we've interviewed them. I got to look at it. I use it all the time. Hoopla, Hoopla. That is hoopladigital.com. That's the address for it right there. So if you are into learning, you are into just that self-taught aspect of everything, or if you just want to listen to one of the newest albums that are out there, Hoopla really has it, and you can get there through your library. It's really cool. It's something that the libraries jump into. Ben, have you downloaded anything through it? I've done comic books. It's really neat doing comic books.
You know what? I haven't, but actually I'm just thinking that I remember I just found my Palatine library card.
Hey.
It should be still legacy in there, lineage or whatever. But hopefully, I'll be able to do that. But, man, you just brought up like a real thing in the 90s with the library used to be the place where you could go and download and not download, but go and rent or check out CDs and albums and all the new music. You go there and they'd have the players. You could listen. You go there and listen to your favorite band's new CD that whatever your mom wouldn't let you buy or whatever.
Especially in the time of high piracy.
Yes.
That was the best place to go if you were looking at I don't know, making a friend of the CDs that you borrowed. It's like, oh, this CD is so lonely, I should make him a friend. Then
you just enjoy them. and that was before the days of Kazaa, when maybe 5 years before we had LimeWire and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to go either to Best Buy and listen to the CDs for. I think you could listen to the whole thing. Some of them are like, I remember at Sam Goody they'd have like, you'd scan the CD and you could hear like a minute and a half of it, or like of each song. You could hear like 30 seconds of each song and kind of skip.
It would just skip you through it. Did some of this, to keep it kind of where we're talking about this, did some of those experiences, did some of that worldly education of like, man, I wish I could listen to more. Where can I find more? How do I set up my stereo so that I could listen to the songs? Did that kind of spark an interest in audio production for you?
Oh, for me personally, probably. Yeah, I would think that's part of it for everybody who gets into sound and live sound, that either you went to a concert and liked that, or performance. I think I wasn't like obsessed or anything. Like I would say to a normal degree, I enjoyed music and going out. And,
so it already felt like a job for you already.
Sure, yeah.
But Ben, to talk about a little bit about how our Motivational Monday is only the educated are free, is let's talk about how people get that education. We talked about how it helps you in maybe your job or so. We'll talk a little bit about how it helps society in general. But let's talk about how people get that education. The library is a great place that we're talking about here, but there's also institutions for education, right? Whether it is a actual public school, a private school, a vocational school, a postgraduate, a college, you know what I mean? There's institutions for education. Let's talk about a little bit of the styles and where the benefits of everything are. Well, the first thing I want to talk about is let's talk about the public aspect of it. I think the public aspect of it for me is less about the factual education at a certain point, and it's more about the societal education of how we have these different personalities commingle and still have to achieve a goal of learning or whatever. But I think at a certain point in the public education side, it no longer focuses on the factual learning and focuses more on the societal learning. And what are your feelings with this, Ben?
Oh yeah, I mean it's a big trend. It kind of just like hitting the markers and cooking the books, or sort of pumping up the numbers kind of thing as in education, where you have all these high testing kids who really don't understand how the world works or how to apply the things that they've tested about to the real world. And it's
all content
kind of becoming a problem in the workforce, I would say.
Yeah, the all content, no context people. Exactly. I've read everything in the internet. The kids that turn around and say, "Well, I've read the dictionary." Have you read the dictionary? Have you read the encyclopedia? Well, I have, front to back. It's like, okay, you know things, but like, have you experienced it? Have you internalized it? Otherwise, just pulling up aardvark facts because you got through chapter 1 6 or 7 times.
You're nothing without a thesaurus too.
Yeah, a thesaurus and a large vocabulary for it. But at the end of the day, a plan is only as good, education is only as good as the chance to use it in that experience. So I would aside. But go ahead, go and continue.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I don't want to get too down on the education system because.
Okay, well let's move to a more perceivably better. People perceive this education to be better. Let's talk more about the private aspect of it. And we're talking about the fundamental life. Like this is grade school stuff, private versus public, et cetera. There's a perceived value of a private school. And do you think that is more of a focus or a indoctrination or more of a style, or what do you think more of this private aspect of it, where people are actually spending legitimate dollars into an education?
Yeah. Well, in so many words, it's pretty much just capitalism at work, I would say.
Okay.
The actual education, when it comes down to it, it by definition can't differ too much from other education. So really you're paying to be in an old building with, I guess, the whole aspect of this is the same thing that my parents did. You're in the same place as your family did school. So that's pretty much what you're paying for, is the experience of the physical aspect of it, maybe nicer lunches, that kind of thing, and talk about being in safe spaces and bubbles. That's what private school just kind of screams to me. But,
well, uniforms, more targeted education. I mean, there are things that you do need to know, and there are things that you kind of probably don't need to know to function in society. But at the end of the day, we should all have at least a baseline education, both for history, societal side of things, monetary things. I mean, a lot of it, too, is we rely, or at least a lot of people rely on the public education or private education side to be all of the education that their children get. And that's where I think societally we've kind of enforced that. We've kind of said, no, babysit them during school. I'll go to work, and my wife will go to work, and our friends we'll all go to work while they go to school, and then we'll all meet up together and talk about what we did, and then go to sleep and rinse and repeat. And then on Saturdays, we'll all stare at the same television show together. So it's kind of set up that way. So I think to continue to go with the Stoic concept of freedom through education has also a profound societal implications. It suggests that a true free society is one where individuals are empowered with knowledge and skills to make informed decisions. So think about this. Let's all put our thinking caps on. Don't close your eyes if you're driving, but let's put our thinking caps on, and let's think about how all of us perceive the average American. Let's all look at it right now. Well, let's go even further. The average person in the world. Think about the average person, just average Joe Schmuckatelli, right? Just guy, right? Here he is. 50% of the people in the planet, in the U.S., and the whatever medium person, average person you're thinking about, are dumber than that person. That's a scary thought. Doesn't matter where on the scale that you thought average Joe is there. You may think you're smarter, less average, or whatever. Just that concept, just that mind exercise right there. Because educationally, this underscores the importance of accessible, high-quality education for everybody. We've all got the context. We got the Library of Alexandria in our pockets. It's there. I can look up almost any single fact in the entire world. All except for like how many footsteps I made. Oh no, that's right. I have technology to count my dang footsteps. There are facts that are out there ready to be pulled down, out to the internet. We already have them. The issue is, it's a call for action to the educators, policymakers, and communities to invest in systems that nurture the intellectual and moral development of the everyday individual. So now the moral side of it, that should not be a thing for the government to decide. Now, by all means, the republic, the definition of a republic is all of us agreeing to a certain set of rules, and I would agree that some morality needs to be implied in that. Don't steal, don't kill, things like that. We're back to the freedom of holding my own personal beliefs without being infringed upon. Now, whatever political stance that you think fits that, whether you think it's conservative, liberal, or even as far as libertarian, even for that statement alone, less interference for my beliefs, right? For example, let's consider the role of education in democracy. The educated populace is better equipped to participate in civic duties, understand political issues, and make decisions that promote the common good. Education fosters critical thinking and informed debates, which are essential for a healthy democracy. We couldn't get away from our two favorite words today, Ben, even in this segment: capitalism and democracy. We say it every single one that's out there. These are two systems that are separate from each other. One's an economic system, the other is a system of government. But both still require an educated public to promote competition with it. If I am playing a game of chess, but you don't know that a pawn can attack diagonally, the game is rigged. So we have to get that education that's out there for it. And whether you get that from an institution or you are an autodidact and you like to get some of that information from your library or from the internet that's in there, we have to lean on education again. This has to be a thing that we put together. Ben, we're going to just take a quick break just so we can hit our sponsors for it. But that's what I want to come back for, man, is how do we use the principle of learning to get better in this last segment? That's what I'm after, buddy.
I like it. Yeah, I think it's one of those things that should be intrinsic.
Intrinsic. We've already got the Open Book People Open Book Show with Gail Borden Public Library District. GailBorden.info for more of those info. 1 to 2 p.m. every Monday right here on WRMN, sponsored by KCT Credit Union. We'll be right back after these.
Here at WRMN Radio, we try to connect with the community and discuss important issues, like our current mental health crisis. Here's Lori Baker, President and CEO of AID.
I think most people, when they see young children thinking about suicide at the ages of 5 and 6 and 7, I mean, that's shocking to me that children even know that they want to harm themselves somehow. I know it's difficult. I definitely feel the pinch. We all feel the pinch at the gas pump, at the grocery store, right, in our rents, but I think most people could handle 27 cents a day to help kids and seniors and people experiencing homelessness.
Discussions like this take place on the first shift, weekday mornings from 6 to 10, right here on WRMN AM 1410 and WRMN 1410 Radio on Facebook.
Taqueria Las Cumbres, Crystal Lake's authentic Mexican restaurant on Grant Street, is open for carryout. For over 15 years, Taqueria Las Cumbres has been serving up all of your favorite Mexican dishes and doing it better than the rest. Recently voted the best in McHenry County. Stop in and carry out the authentic taste of Mexico and see for yourself. Support local for lunch and dinner today and place an order from Taqueria Las Cumbres. Call 815-455-8200 for Taqueria Las Cumbres of downtown Crystal Lake.
Hailing from Tanzania, you'll be thrilled to see the Zuzu African acrobats celebrate the 2,000-year-old Bantu culture of East Africa. The Zuzu acrobats have performed on America's Got Talent, and you can see their incredible acrobatics and energizing African drumming, singing, and dancing this Saturday at 4 at the Egyptian Theater in DeKalb. Each performance has incredible gravity-defying stunts while displaying the grace, beauty, and strength of the African culture. Visit EgyptianTheater.org.
Welcome back to Out to Lunch with WRMN. This is the show where we open up the floor, we open up the phone to all of those cerebral, heady type of conversations, and also some of the other ones that are out there too. There's lots of different styles of education. There's lots of styles of conversation. And so we try to do all of the different pedagogic ways to make sure that your life is that much a little bit better. We've got a caller already. Let me go ahead and lock Benjamin in, and let's see who this other caller is. Hello, caller. Welcome to WRMN. How are you today?
Pretty good.
Is this Bob? Is this Submariner Bob?
That's what it have recently been called.
Man, I'll tell you, sir, I love this caller ID that's here, but I'll tell you, it's even better hearing your real voice. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is a very educated person. And Bob, what did you want to talk a little bit about today?
Education.
Go ahead, let's go.
Well, I might start out by saying that I was born in 1931, so you can figure out my age. But one of the things about 1931 is that through 1939 was a pretty bad recession here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
My father had 3 other brothers, and the youngest of the 3 was my Uncle Nick, and he got to go to medical school and became a doctor.
Okay.
The others went to various different jobs with menial, meaning high school in most cases, education, and that was the end of their education. My father became an insurance salesman after his brief stint in the military during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, he died when I was 9 years of age. But
I'm sorry to hear that.
He had convinced my mother that I was to become a doctor, his first son. And the reason why I was to become a doctor was because he couldn't get married until his youngest brother, Nick, graduated and got his MD.
He wasn't allowed to be married? until his brother, right? It's wait a minute.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
He still lived at home, and he had to help pay for his brother's education.
Mm-hmm.
And as he told my mother, he put his brother through medical school. He's certainly going to put his son through medical school.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, he died when I was 9 years old, and needless to say, those plans took a considerable change.
Mm-hmm.
I had a younger brother, 5 years younger than me, and the two of us and my mother went to live with my grandparents. And also my aunt and uncle lived in the same two-flat building that they owned. And so I had no problems with as far as relatives, and I certainly had plenty to eat and so on and so forth. But at the height of the Depression, things were tough.
Do you think your education, not only your book learning side of it, but also the traditions that were passed down, right? I mean, for the Depression side of it, it was a family education as well. How do you make this supply last? How can I do this 3 or 4 times more with the same thing? Like, if you don't know that you can reuse coffee grounds maybe once or twice more, you're just going to throw them out the door, especially in the Depression side of it. Well, if you want coffee in the Depression, well, you better be ready to drink something that's a little less strong than what you normally have.
Well, I wasn't too concerned with that. I managed to eat pretty good, I'm sure. My mother finally was able to get a job, and she helped support us. But it was a problem. I can remember clothes were a problem for me as a growing youngster, and shoes was a big problem because you tend to wear them out pretty quick, and your feet grow pretty fast. But anyway.
Well, public transportation at that point was your own damn feet, right?
That's right. And I never did own a bicycle. Never did own a bicycle because they were too damn expensive.
I get that. Yeah.
But I had a pair of roller skates, and they worked pretty good.
Hey, there you go. Well, thanks for calling in, Bob. I really appreciate it.
I hope we're not running out of time already.
Nope, I've got 2 more minutes left. I just got to close out the show.
Alrighty. We have to continue this because I want to tell you about my education someday.
Well, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to keep doing things like this for having discussions and kind of opening up things for this. You're more than welcome to come over anytime, sir.
Okay. I'll just finish with this. The best part of my education was the fact that I had good enough grades to get into what was a magnet school at that time, Lane Tech High School. And that was the ability from there to go on to higher education. It took a hell of a lot of work, but I managed to do it. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, sir. That was Bob. We appreciate Bob coming in there. We got to close out the show now. Ben, any last words? How do you continue your lifelong education on this, buddy?
That was such a great cap to this episode of just education and talking about history and going through. I want to hear more. I want to hear the rest of Bob's education story. So just saying that.
We'll have to get him over.
We'll have education Mondays. But yeah, I think you just got to do new things and keep reading in whatever way that is. Now I read a lot of articles and that kind of stuff.
That Motivational Monday
counts. Yes, it's Motivational Monday. So go out there and learn, damn it, learn.
That's it. And if you're really interested in learning, don't forget Open Book with the Gail Borden Public Library District. GailBorden.info if you're looking for more of that. That is every Monday, 1 to 2 p.m., following Out to Lunch. So that's why we're looking for a Motivational Monday. This Motivational Monday was brought to you by Education. different types of education that are out there in the world, not just book learning, not just institutional learning. Go out there and experience something that's out there. So spend some time today for some reading and some self-reflection. It's a great day for it, always is. You've been listening to Out to Lunch. My name is Dennis Sonar Green. You can find more about me at Sonic Engineer. You can find more about the station, WRMN1410.com.
The Triple Berry Cafe of Crystal Lake offers incredible breakfast and lunch options for you, and now the coffee bar is open for you to enjoy. Stop in and enjoy a relaxing cup of coffee in a peaceful setting, and if you're hungry, the Triple Berry Cafe is ready to provide you with homemade goodness. Enjoy omelets, skillets, pancakes, crepes, waffles, and much more for breakfast. Stop in at the Triple Berry Cafe for lunch and enjoy signature sandwiches, burgers, wraps, salads, and healthy options are available as well. Triple Berry Cafe, just off Randall Road in Crystal Lake. Now with a coffee bar.
Warm up this winter and introduce your friends to Viator Coffee at the Food Hall in downtown Elgin. Viator Coffee has a winter menu that includes 6 new coffee drinks with names like Little Wolf, Tartan Tonic, and Merry Mint Mocha. Plus, there's a whole new lineup of baked goods too. Viator Coffee provides you with amazing flavors and customer service, so relax and savor a cup in a place that offers a new level of coffee drinks and service within a peaceful, relaxing space. Visit ViatorCoffeeCart.com.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 1 o'clock.
With your AM 1410 WRMN Newsflash, I'm Sean Kernan. Brought to you by Prevnar. Elgin's Downtown Market is ready to kick off its summer season on June 7th with extended hours from 3 p.m. until 8 p.m., offering locals more time to explore after work. Running until August 30th, visitors can enjoy an array of fresh produce, meats, artisanal crafts, and live music. 38-year-old Victor Ailon has pleaded guilty to the first-degree murder of his wife, Wendy Ailon. The incident occurring back in July of 2021, ending fatally when Victor strangled his wife during a domestic dispute. Attention now turns to the sentencing, which will occur on June 20th. He faces up to 60 years in prison. Elgin police officer Jordan Collins has been charged with 5 counts of possession of child pornography. The 33-year-old officer, who has served the Elgin Police Department for 5 years, was arrested while on duty. With your AM 1410 WRMN Newsflash, I'm Sean Kernan.
At Progressive, we know money can't buy you happiness, but money did help you buy an RV, which means an excuse from working Saturday with your insufferable coworker, Dave. So money is helping you listen to birds chirp instead of Dave chirping about how his toddler is fluent in 3 languages. And it's also why you'll be smelling pine trees in the air, not Dave's tuna melt reheating in a microwave. So save money by bundling your RV or boat insurance with home or auto from Progressive and buy more happiness, or something close to it. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 800-699-9043.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
The Bulls are adding to their coaching staff. Former Wizards head coach Wes Unseld Jr. and Clippers assistant Dan Craig are joining Coach Billy Donovan's staff as top assistants. Donovan's remaking his staff after the departure of Chris Fleming and Josh Longstaff's acceptance of a new job as the second assistant with Charlotte. The Pirates got by the Cubs 3-2 at Wrigley Field on Sunday. Mitch Keller improved to 3-0 with a 1.29 ERA and 3 May starts. The righty allowed 2 runs and a pair of hits. He struck out 3 and walked 3. Nick Gonzalez hit a key 2-run single for the Pirates. Jack Sawinski went deep. The Yankees pounded the White Sox 7-2 in the Bronx on Sunday. New York has wins in 7 straight. They finished off a 3-game sweep over the Sox. Aaron Judge hit his 13th homer of the season and 7th in 13 games. Carlos Rodon won his 3rd straight start for New York.
Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive.
I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
This is sponsored by Burger King. Burger King is turning 70 on June 1st and wants to celebrate with you. In honor of this milestone birthday, have it your way with sweet deals for members of the free Burger King loyalty program, Royal Perks. Members will have access to 7 days of daily exclusive digital offers like a free hamburger and free original chicken sandwich with purchases of 70 cents or more, beginning on May 28th and running through June 3rd. Among the digital deals, Royal Perks members can enjoy a medium, ice-cold Coca-Cola soft drink for free with a purchase of 70 cents or more on Thursday, May 30th. Royal Perks members can also celebrate with a $6 birthday meal featuring a flame-grilled Whopper Jr., small fries, small soft drink, and the all-new birthday pie slice for just $6. To learn more about all of the BK birthday offers and to get in on the party, including playing an exclusive game on the BK app, download the Burger King app and sign up for Royal Perks today. Price and participation.
Hit the open road and experience the fresh air of Wisconsin at the Grand Stay Hotel and Suites in Mount Horeb. This award-winning hotel is just outside Madison. Mount Horeb is known as the troll capital of the world. Families can go on a troll hunt through the historic downtown or check out Cave of the Mounds just minutes down the road. The Grand Stay offers a beautiful pool and a hot tub with year-round fun. Visit grandstaymounthoreb.com today to schedule your visit.
Renata's Old Salem Cafe is now Renata's German restaurant with old family recipes for delicious Bavarian dinners. Renata's is also known for breakfast and lunch. Renata's German restaurant has fresh baked German pastries. For a hearty breakfast, try Renata's for pancakes, skillets, and more. They've also set the standard for catering excellence. Try Renata's German restaurant off Irving Park, west of Wise Road in Hanover Park. Visit renatasgermanrestaurant.com.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to a wonderful second edition. I'm pretty darn excited about this of Open Book with the Gail Borden Library, brought to us by KCT Credit Union. And with it being the second edition, hopefully you guys had the chance to review a little bit of it last week. But each week you will expect to see 2 or more great guests joining us in the studio and talking about the library. And all of that started out because of this little ditty. I'm not going to lie. This is what brought it to the table, is this thing, is because I looked at it and I said, I wonder how many people are not familiar with the contents. What's inside? You start paging through it and you realize that indeed there's a lot of things going on at the library, and that's for all ages. Well, today we are going to be welcoming some good friends into the studio, and it is Miss Carol Metal, and she is the CEO of the Gail Borden Library, as well as Miss Nikki Mirabati, and she is the Elementary Service Manager, K-5 at the library. So welcome, ladies. You are most welcome. And Carol, I will say that I had the opportunity to speak with or listen to you at the 150th anniversary. So that's quite an honor that you guys are sitting on a nice little high step this year.
Yes, it really is, quite, I think, an accomplishment to have this wonderfully successful library for 150 years and knowing actually that we were the first library established in Illinois through the state legislature. We filed the papers a day before Chicago Public Library. And that was back a little before 1874, but we chose March 19th, 1874, and the year of that year in particular, because that's when the library opened to the public.
And
that's when it really meant something.
That's when it stood out. That's the stamp, right? And how long have you been with the library?
I've been with the library almost 20 years. It'll be 20 years in August.
And what made you, if you don't mind me ask, what made you get involved with the library into that position? I mean, what brought that to be your career?
Well, my background, I have a library degree, of course, and worked my way up, reference librarian, manager of departments, and then I was director of the Rolling Meadows Public Library for 15 years. And then I spent some time at the Chicago Public Library, Harold Washington Center, as a division chief, overseeing several departments. And then when this position became open 20 years ago, I thought I would like to try for it. And I did, and was hired. And the building was brand new at that time. It was less than a year old. And when I walked in that building, I said, we are going to utilize this building to the nth degree.
That's fantastic.
And then when I found out the quality of staff that we had, and so many of the ideas that were just waiting to be acted upon, and we wanted to, I wanted to initiate that, and wanted to get staff involved in the many activities. And just really quickly, one of the ones that really, that we were able to really have the public take notice of was in 2005, when we had the African dinosaurs brought by Dr. Paul Serino from Chicago, University of Chicago.
Okay.
And we had a 30-foot tall dinosaur
right in that lobby. I bet I can see it right where it's at. Yep, with that big tall ceiling you have.
That roof. Wow, people said, really, libraries can have exhibits like that? And we sure did. And we just tied it to literacy, because when you see it, you want to learn more about it.
Yep.
And the books are right there for people to check out, and that's what we want.
I constantly, with my kids growing up, as well as my grandkids when they were growing up, I was a big supporter of the more you know. You know, when I was a kid, and you and I are probably closer in age than Miss Nikki, sorry, but when I was a kid, it was all about encyclopedias, and it was all about what you couldn't find in there or was too big above your head was always go to the local library. Mm-hmm. That's how it is that you learned it. And the neat thing, I think, from just you saying, like, the first to come out there and be a part with the exhibit, with the dinosaur exhibit, is that it wasn't just what a normal library would have. You recognize that, listen, there's so many more tools that we can bring, and it sounds like you've always been a step ahead of the times. You know, once the people started going to the computers, well, then what did libraries do? They brought computers in to access it. So for your first, I guess, official gig, when you said you're working at the other ones, the big one here in Elgin, that probably was wonderful, you just walking through those doors and say, okay, all the potential that's waiting.
Absolutely. And, you know, we're the perfect size. We're big enough and have a large enough staff to do so many of these activities, but not so big like when I was at Chicago Public Library that it was pretty difficult to get things to be nimble. It was difficult to be nimble. And that's one thing we are at Gail Borden Library is that word nimble.
Well, I have to say, too, that's the one, you know, when you've worked in all different positions, like especially with having your experience at Chicago, I think it probably teaches you to be a little bit more respectful. That's not the right word, but understanding of the different, all the different avenues of a library, because you know what it's like to have a great idea, but have to go through all the politics to get to it.
Right, definitely. And the number one thing that we keep foremost in our mind is that we are serving the community. Mm-hmm. And what is our community, and what are the needs of the community? And, you know, one might have thought, well, why have exhibits? We're so close to Chicago. Well, there's many people in our community that cannot get down to downtown Chicago or don't have the money to get down to downtown Chicago. So that's why we, you know, have these exhibits, educational, that it's right in their own backyard. I established a concert series, free concerts, very high quality. we certainly want them to enjoy the wonderful musicianship of the Elgin Symphony Orchestra, but not everyone has the money for the tickets.
Right.
So we're able to, provide that. And then of course, all the activities that our youth department has and engaging our youngest readers and youngest customers, shall we say, into being good readers. Because it's all about literacy and connecting people and children with books.
I'm going to carry that on even a little bit, because I know when I had my first child, and I think a lot of moms of multiples will understand this logic behind it, but when I had my first child, it was reading all the time. Then all of a sudden you get to the second child. Now you got another, so to try and stay on top of it, I fully admit it wasn't as active as reading as it was with the first one, just because it's a timing issue. And that's the other thing that I like that the library puts together, is not only the challenges for kids, but also sometimes the challenges for parents,
Absolutely. It's definitely half the battle.
It is, yeah. And I like I said, that was the hardest one. And then when you have multiple kids, like I said, it makes it a little bit more difficult. The one thing I noticed, Carol, with the event that you had out there celebrating the 150th, which I'm going to say once again, I know I've said it before, was fantastic. I think that the turnout you had there had to have felt just made your heart kind of warm, and seeing how many people, it's pretty much a standing room only, because all the seats were occupied from the presentations that you had. And I had missed a couple in the beginning. I had an appointment, so I couldn't get there right away in the beginning. But just sitting back and listening to the story behind it, even that a lot of people are not familiar with.
Right. Yes. We have such a rich history. Well, and I think you can when you're 150 years old.
That's true.
But
you better, right?
But,
if you did your job right, you better, right? Yeah.
Well, what I think is one of the fantastic things is in those 150 years, the Gail Borden Library has only had 9 directors, and one of the directors only stayed 1 year. So I don't know if I even really count him.
We're going to say no. God bless you, but we're going to say no. As my mother-in-law would say, bless his heart. Yeah. There we go.
So, just having that continuity, of leadership. And of course, we're honoring the longest-serving library director, Catherine Abbott, who served from 1903 to 1943, 40 years. And plus, she worked at the library before she became the director. But others have 25 years. I will definitely not be there the longest.
But still in the top 10.
Yeah, top 10. Yeah, I'm still in the top 10. But, when I think about, some other libraries and the time that I've been at Gail Borden, they may have had 4 or 5 directors in 20 years, and here only 9. So the Gail Borden Library, I think, has always been a mainstay and very important to the community of Elgin and surround. And now that we're a district, we do serve beyond the city. We serve parts of South Elgin and Streamwood, Hoffman Estates, and Bartlett. We serve 65 square miles.
And what are those? I call them like a hub. What is it actually for our offsite location? What would you call that destination, like for the one in South Elgin? Is it a hub of the Gail Borden Library?
A branch. We call it branch library.
Okay, got it.
Yes, which we are in the throes of expanding to the joy of our South Elgin residents. Growing from, yes.
That's me.
Okay. Yep. To 4,000 square foot to close to 12,000 square feet.
Wow.
And we're out to bid on that project now and hope to start construction at the end of summer.
I was going to say, because there is room to branch out around there.
Yeah.
Right.
Get it open in 2025.
Wow.
And there's a lot of building going on in South Elgin, just right down the road on McLean. And so we expect to have quite a lot of new users and members of the Gail Borden Public Library District.
We talked in honor of your 150th anniversary. I was talking, I think, when I came by the library last week, and I said, well, I have yet to have signed up for my library card. I know. That was like, there's a gasp. It was a sudden gasp. Yeah, I turned her microphone off because it would have been way audible. No. Yeah, no, but yeah. And so I said, well, we're going to show how easy it is. So one of our episodes, we're going to talk about how easy it is to get a library card.
I think we've got it down to like 4 minutes.
Really? No kidding?
We time it. Yep.
So that's fantastic. And Miss Nikki, we're going to talk to you in a little bit. Again, talking about some of the summer reading and the areas that she covers with the library. One other question I wanted to, again, shoot with Carol, and we're going to bounce back and forth a little bit, but I've always was curious when you said that our hub or our branch, the main one, is going to be doing a lot of things that some other people may not have done. Who is the one then that decided, guess what, we can do passports here. We can do that was one that caught me. That's probably one of the very first things that happened that got me interested is that I had to renew my driver's license. And in radio, we have little hubs of time. You don't have time to be standing in line at the DMV. And a coworker mentioned the library. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, how many other people didn't know that? I was your biggest advocate. I think I told everybody, even in the grocery line, I told them that, did you know, that you could do that? So how did you arrange that? Was it something too, you said, what other service can we offer the community, or how did that become?
Well, to tell you the truth, sometimes I can't remember where those ideas originate.
I appreciate your honesty.
We have a highly creative staff. Passports, it went back many years.
Okay.
And I don't know if I thought of it or someone else. And when we applied, we were turned down by the State Department at that time. Mm-hmm. That was before they started coming into libraries. They passports just basically were at the post office.
Right.
And I think the government, just like they realized how nice it was for public libraries to distribute tax forms.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
of course, there's so much online, but back in the day, oh my gosh, the thousands of tax forms that we would have, and we still have tax forms for, if people want the hard copy. So they realized, I think, libraries would be good, but you still have to go through a process. And Ela Library in Lake Zurich was probably the first in the area, and they did it for a number of years. And so we learned from them. And when we reapplied and we were accepted, so much so that we have heard that when people are in line for passports at the post office, they tell them to come to the library.
I think I did hear that, be honest with you.
It's much nicer at the library. I'll put a plug in because of our hours. Now, we do ask for appointments that people call, make an appointment.
Okay.
And but we have evening. Now, when is the post office open in the evening?
Right.
And Sunday. We're 7 days a week, 71 hours. And
blessings to the staff at the post office, but yeah, I like the library.
Yeah. And, so, and good parking and, everything like that. So, and our staff we are overviewed very intensely by the State Department. And we passed with flying colors at the last inspection.
So there's criteria.
Doing everything right.
There you go. Well, cool. First of all, that's not surprising to me, but that is probably something you just kind of always hold your breath a little bit. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
You probably knew you were good, but there's something about when somebody confronts you with a test, I always tense up and I'm thinking, all right, I got to pass this. Yeah, I didn't study for it, but yeah. But I think it's a great service. So I'm going to hand the microphone over real quickly to Miss Nikki too for a little bit and let Carol have a little break. Now there is Nikki Marabati is, as I said, the elementary service manager, K-5 at the library. So, Nikki, first of all, you probably, from just your appearance and your disposition, I think it's the perfect person for the gig because you can just tell that when somebody walks up to you, they're going to have a smile on their face.
Leah, I have to say, I think I'm the lucky one. I have gotten to see so many amazing things at the library. I've gotten to see children take their first steps. I've gotten to see them finish their first book. I've gotten to share with them some of my favorite books. So how can you not have a smile on your face with that? I mean, I get to share jokes with them and just their lives, and I get to see them grow up. So it's such an amazing opportunity. I'm the lucky one.
Oh, there you go. Well, I think one of my very first books on my first reading exercise when I was, in this case, it was middle school. So again, you got to put the time into perspective here, okay? Nowadays, it's much sooner. But my first reading was for The Outsiders by, right?
Yep.
And now because you remember that over time, and it wasn't a boring kind of snooze read. It was something that was very interesting, and it was timely, and it was age, for the age that we were at the time. So now even to this day, somebody's going to be doing a play on it, and I'm thinking, I'm going to be there. It's that kind of memory that books bring on.
It really is. You never forget your first book. You never forget your first kind of book that touched you. It becomes a part of you, and that's the privilege that we kind of get to work with every day, and it's something that we honor and we hold so dear, and something that we try to strive for with every interaction with the kids, and to get to see them find that book that kind of starts off their journey is just, it's so special.
So let's talk a little bit about your pattern. What brought you to the library, and how long have you been with I've now just kind of put you down to GBL instead of Gail Borden Library, but how long have you been with the library?
So I'm going on 8 years, which I still can't believe it. It doesn't feel like 8 years at all. I was just telling Carol actually earlier. So my journey's been a little bit different. I was originally going to be a marine biologist. So I went to school in Florida for a little while, and then I graduated, and I was like, no, this isn't going to work. And then I went into education, and I got my degree in elementary education, and I was teaching for a few years, which was amazing. But we didn't get to enjoy some of the joys of reading because there was so much testing and bureaucracy and things of that nature. So I credit all the teachers out there. It is such an important job and so challenging, one that I don't think I did very well. But when I came back to Illinois, I fell in love with Gail Borden, and I started there, honestly, just doing library cards in the circulation department and getting to know people. And I knew that's where I wanted to be, and that's kind of how I ended up going to library school and tied my passion for kids and literacy with libraries, and I just never left.
And first of all, that also says a lot, and I'm going to give you a couple of pumps up here, Miss Carol. It says a lot about the staffing there as well. When somebody says, I came and I felt so welcome and it was such a good environment, that says a lot about what you do.
Thank you.
So,
yes.
Sure. And that was the other thing that caught my eye is this nice little ditty, which we're going to be talking about in the second half of our show because of the summer reading program. Now, that incorporates, like I said, that's our kids it was always called Read Up, or, they had a challenge. Right? Would you call it a challenge?
We call it a challenge.
There
you got it.
I think anytime you tell kids it's a challenge instead of an assignment, you're going to have their.
They want to win. I get it.
So we're going to talk a little bit about that in the next segment here too, because you're going to be kicking that off on probably at the fair. You had mentioned the fair a little bit.
That's
earlier.
right. I just have one question for you, Leah. What are you doing June 8th?
I'm going to check my calendars. And I want you guys to do the same, because what we're going to do is go to a real quick commercial break. I want to remind you're listening to Open Book. It's with the Gail Borden Library, brought to you by KCT Credit Union. We'll be back with more in just a bit.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. No matter the time of the day, WRMN 1410 AM is your platform to voice your views, share your stories, and connect with the Valley like never before. We're more than just radio. We're a community conversation that's always live, always local, and always looking for your input. Want to chime in on the drive time deal with Matt McNeil? Got a hot tip for first shift with Marky B? Or maybe you've got a question for a one-on-one with Leah. Now's the time to make your voice heard by calling Studio 14 at 847-931-1410. That's 847-931-1410. You can join in the dialogue from wherever you are by commenting on our YouTube live streams at WRMN Radio. Hit the subscribe button to get notified when we go live and bring your comments to the table. It's easy, it's fun, and hey, it's what neighbors do. We talk, we listen, we engage. You're not just the audience, you're part of the show. Call in, comment, and let's make radio interactive. WRMN 1410 AM, where your words are part of our wavelength.
From morning coffee to your evening commute, WRMN 1410 AM is here for you. The faithful friend that brings you local news, timely topics, and the friendliest voices in the Valley. Stay informed, entertained, and engaged with our full lineup of shows, streaming all day, every day at WRMN1410.com or on the WRMN app. Wherever you are, we're right there with you. So why switch stations? Stick with the one that has it all. WRMN 1410 AM, your daily companion, your constant conversation.
Michael Brown, former Undersecretary of Homeland Security and Director of FEMA, is your new full-time host of The Weekend, which airs every Saturday from 4 to 7 p.m. right here on WRMN. Each week on the popular 3-hour program, Brown offers listeners a fresh take on the weekend talk with his provocative insights into current events, politics, and culture. So late in the day on Saturday, make it a point to catch The Weekend with Michael Brown right here on WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
Be sure to catch the first shift weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. for important information like fire tips from Elgin Fire Chief Rob Sagan.
The thing in the winter that we're more concerned with is carbon monoxide, because that we don't get in the summer. That carbon monoxide issues occur because of heating equipment. Anything that burns natural gas, if it is faulty, can generate high levels of carbon monoxide, which in time can be fatal. So I can't emphasize enough the importance of having carbon monoxide detectors in your home. Every single year you will see somewhere in the country, and usually we'll get one or two in the Chicagoland area, where you'll see multiple fatalities in one home. You can't smell carbon monoxide, you can't taste carbon monoxide, you have no idea it's happening. And so it's critically important that you have the right detectors in your home.
It's the first shift weekday mornings at 6 a.m. with me, Marky B, right here on WRMN. Ever take your car through the auto emissions lane only to experience the sinking feeling that your car has failed the test? Don't fret. Let Meineke at 376 Sundown in South Elgin fix the problem for you. Meineke's mechanics will determine the exact problem with your vehicle and suggest necessary repairs with Meineke's diagnostic service. Pass that test with help from the trained Meineke technicians. Call today for your appointment. 847-888-9644. That's 847-888-9644. In the mood for some great barbecue but just don't have time to make it yourself? Carry out Coleman's Barbecue on Elgin's East Side at 79 Clock Tower. Coleman specializes in ribs, tips, chicken wings, seafood, and sandwiches with sides like coleslaw, potato salad, and dessert. Try Coleman's Exotic Mild Sauce. It's the bomb. You can also buy sauce in gallon or pint sizes. It's prepared just right, the Coleman's way. Call 224-535-8153.
And if you're searching for a financial partner that truly has your best interest at heart, join KCT Credit Union, where they're more than just a bank. They're a not-for-profit financial cooperative. KCT members are owners, meaning profits go back to you in the form of lower loan rates, higher savings rates, and fewer fees. Experience personalized service that puts you first. Become a part of KCT, where your financial well-being is their top priority. Visit kctcu.org. Each account insured up to $250,000 by Members' Choice. This institution is not federally insured. And welcome everybody back to the Gail Borden Library's Open Book. So Open Book with the Gail Borden Library comes to you from with KCT Credit Union Blessing. And today we have the pleasure of having Miss Carol Metal in studio with us today, as well as Miss Nikki. And Nikki, I'm looking forward to it because hopefully people have got their calendars by now, so you know, and you can look to see what's scheduled for June 8th, and you have your pen in hand so you can fill it in after our chat. But Nikki is the, I always want to add some more to it, but you would call it the elementary service manager. You said K through 5. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. I know it's a tongue twister.
Yeah.
You got it perfect.
Moving on. I have to make sure I hit every syllable on there. And of course, the CEO, Miss Carol Metal, is joining us today. And we were mentioning, and again, all people are always tuning in to us here, mentioning and celebrating this year the 150th anniversary of the Gail Borden Library. Was it always called the Gail Borden Library, Carol?
No, it was the Elgin Township Library when it was first born, and it wasn't until the 1880s that the stepsons of Gail Borden, who was the inventor of condensed milk, which allowed milk to be available to urban areas, right? Because there was no refrigeration back in the mid-19th century. And he came to fame when the Union Army signed a contract with him for this milk for the Union soldiers. So that's when his name came to fame. And his stepsons purchased the Schofield Mansion on Spring Street, which is still there, for a library, and with the understanding that it would forever be known as the Gail Borden Library, Gail Borden Public Library. And then decades later, back in the 70s, I believe it was, the library became a district. So therefore, its boundaries expanded. We're now 65 square miles. So it's a wonderful story, and certainly a tribute to Gail Borden.
Amen.
Who did establish some very, very, very high standards in the dairy industry in this area.
It's amazing. And not being an Elginite originally, I come from Wisconsin. And so to learn all of those little pieces of history that make Elgin stand out, some of which there's a lot of people like transplants like me would not be aware of.
Well, back in the 1880s, 1890s, Elgin was the dairy capital of the world. And one piece
says the Wisconsin girl.
One piece of trivia that I just love that I learned that the 4 quarters of butter that we purchased, that was actually invented here. That used to be just one solid brick, and then it was divided. And it was called the Elgin stick. For a long time.
I think it had to have been developed by a woman. No offense, guys, but the amount of cooking when you had to cut off the perfect size, and then the person, whoever it was after that put the measurements on the paper. That was another hero of mine, I'm going to tell you.
Yes.
Well, that's what I like about shows like what we're doing today, is it's a matter of putting out those pieces of information that you might not have been privy to or didn't know existed. And those are all little pieces of information you can find about the Gail Borden Library. Now, it was almost a month ago now, we had your celebration. It was voting day. I remember that because
March
it was
19th.
So when we were out at the Gail Borden Library, the amount of people that you had there and the kids were there, you did give a good amount of history. Is there things at the library or something at the library that would show kind of like through history where it came from start one to one? Do you have an exhibit there specifically for that?
Well, we are going to be having an exhibit is going to open up on our second floor of artifacts of and the history of the library. So that will be coming very soon, within a couple weeks probably. So that will certainly tell the history. We have books on it. Mr. Mike Elft, who is no longer with us, but he, for many, many years, was the Elgin historian, and he wrote many books on the history of Elgin and also on the library. In fact, that's where we get our facts, is from his material.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, so we will be having a more academic maybe exhibit on the second floor with these various artifacts, and then on the first floor we're going to have story books, favorite old classic books, an exhibit of that.
Okay.
And also we're going to add a train. So people will be able to ride the train starting on Friday afternoons in June, June 14th. Yep, June 14th. And just kind of ride around the exhibit and just little extra attraction.
Well, you know what it does? First, I've got this like, come on, ride the train. Ride it. I've got that in my head. But I'm nodding to you because there's nothing that would give you a better teaser of all things that the library has. So, by having that in the library, I think, again, it shows the vastness of it all.
Yeah.
Everything that you do there.
And it also coincides with, brings out the theme of our summer reading program, which is, Nikki?
Yeah, I think I can. I know I can. Read.
Love it. I love
150 years of reading.
That's got T-shirts. Coming.
What this is showing is that the trains were very important to the success of Elgin when the train started from Elgin to Chicago. So our staff again created the idea and having programming around it, and so it should be fun.
So Nikki Marabati is the one behind that wonderful "I think I can" statement there, and that's part of the summer reading program. So this is going to be kicking off on what date, Nikki?
Sure, it's actually, so our kickoff officially kicks off on June 8th. But we have given the kids a little bit of a head start, so they can start tracking their reading now, today. It opened up May 15th, so we're giving them a little bit of time to get them signed up in school, so that they can jumpstart. But we're celebrating on June 8th, the whole shebang.
And does that have to do with this neat little track that you've got inside of this booklet that they follow along with for the 30-minute reading?
It absolutely does. This is our summer reading log. So this is how they track their minutes. They can track them on paper using 30-minute increments, and they follow along on the train. So every 30 minutes, they can color in their ticket and then each stop on the track. So they are taking a train ride this summer, a train ride of reading. And then each challenge is divided into minutes, and it targets a specific age group. So for our 0 to kindergartners, their target is 450. That's their stop. So once they get across all of their 30-minute stops, they can actually get off the train at their 450-minute station. For my elementary friends, they get to keep going to 750, and I know that they can do it. That's why we're giving them a little bit of head start. And then they're stopping at the 750. And of course, those middle school, high school, and adults, we give them a little extra challenge, and they go all the way to the end of this journey to the 1,200 minutes.
And the neat thing about this that I like is that 9 times out of 10, it's going to create a pattern for somebody to continue reading even after the challenge.
Absolutely.
You know, I think that's the logic behind it, is that you hope that they incorporate that into their daily to-do.
Definitely.
Or daily want, I should say. Not even has to do, but a want.
Absolutely. It's just like the train, right? It's once you get on that track, the momentum goes, it keeps you going, and it carries you on to the next stop, the next book, the next series. And, you know, what's really great about this program is that it reminds people that while literacy is both a very personal, independent kind of journey, it can also be a shared journey with the family, with friends, with book recommendations, with the community. In fact, Leah, we have a community goal, and I know that you can help us out with this.
Absolutely.
In honor of the 150th, we're trying to read 1.5 million minutes this year. So we need everybody to sign up so that we can get those minutes in.
And so if each week, and we do, 1.5, and then I feel like you got this little thermostat that goes up to see how many books are going to be read.
We have a digital one. You got it. Yep. Our thermometer is digital.
Yeah. That's aging me right there. That's what it does.
Leah, I also want to help the kids. You know, reading should be a pleasure within itself and a goal within itself, but we want to give them a little incentive. So maybe Nikki can tell you about some of the prizes.
Oh boy. If you turn in that newsletter, that awesome book that you have, Leah, our log is actually in there.
Okay.
So you get this mailed to your house. So you already have the log probably in your hands or somewhere in your mailbox.
Got it.
And if you go to that back page, so it kind of tells you and lays out all of the different prizes that you are going to get just for participating.
It does. I cheated ahead of time. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
It absolutely does. So just by finishing the challenge, kids 0 through 8th grade are going to get a brand new free book. And we scour the stores. We like to get the most popular, the most fun, the most interesting books so that kids have a great selection to pick from, both in English and Spanish.
That's the other thing I was going to say is rocks on. That's great. Okay.
Absolutely. So they get a free book. Partnering with the Elgin Center, they get a free swim pass to the Wing Park pool. So a day of their choice, so they can cool down, you know, on those hot days, you know. Take a book with you, just don't get it wet, and read at the pool. They're also going to get a ticket to the King County Cougars game, which is fantastic. And then what we do is we recruit a whole bunch of coupons from different local businesses. So Bumblebee Cafe, trying to think of some others, Wendy's, all the kind of good ones, Applebee's, McDonald's gives you a free ice cream. Bumblebee's, you get a free pass. So basically, you can pick one of those local business coupons as well when you come and you finish. And all you have to do to finish is, of course, read your minutes, but then just fill out your log and bring it in.
Okay, so as I'm looking at this, these are pretty cool prizes too. I'm not going to lie. First of all, I appreciate the fact of reading, but the fact that they've got that's like a icing on the top, or cherry on the icing on the top, right? So this is a form that you're going to be filling out. And again, if you don't have one of these, I know you have a supply. We've even got a supply in our Redemption Center. So if by chance you didn't get this and you want to participate, come to the Redemption Center. Otherwise, I'm sure they could pick it up at the library.
Or on our website, you can download it as well.
Oh, nice to know. Okay, and then on the back of it, you'll see the actual chart for you keeping track, and then on the back of it is where they're going to show those prizes. So not only because it is I would say a community, but you said with the Gail Borden Library District, there's a lot of community involvement and partnership. So that means that some of the staff or people that work at the library are also incorporating by going out to all these area businesses, say, can you help us support our summer reading program?
Absolutely, you got it. And you know what? These are our friends and our neighbors, and they are just as invested as we all are in literacy and the growth of the mind and all of those things. And it's a shared mission. So they're opening their doors, and they're giving us what they can to help support this this mission.
And if I can just add, KCT is a strong supporter of the Summer Reading Challenge.
Wonderful.
And we're very grateful. And I just want to also add, for people that don't know, there are KCT branches at the main library and our South Elgin branch. Convenience.
Absolutely. And I think that also shows, like I said, a part of being community. Mm-hmm. There's something that stands out that Elgin has that I've been in other larger cities, and I don't know, Elgin just has this big old welcoming hug around you when you come, and this is such a part and a staple into growing up with kids and adults alike. Now, this is a summer program. You said it's going to be technically it started a little bit earlier, but on June 8th is going to be the 150th anniversary of the Old Town Fair. So what can we expect to have happen at the Old Town Fair, Nikki?
Absolutely. Well, to commemorate the 150 years, Carol really, had this great idea to have a fair. And, she presented us with a challenge. She said, this has to be a fair worth 150 years, not only of library history, but of reading, all reading. So, piece of cake, right? Yeah. So we think we did it, though. This fair is going to be amazing. This Old Town themed fair starts at 1 o'clock and it goes until 5, and it is completely free. And you're going to see some of the sweet treats that you might have seen back in the 1800s at an Old Town Fair. A little bit of cotton candy, some popcorn. Kona Ice is going to be there. There's going to be some hot dogs for people to enjoy.
Who knew that hot dogs were invented in the 1870s?
I didn't know that, actually.
Yes.
See?
Only by the Gail Borden Library that you'll know that information. Yeah, but see, that's true. Like I said, all those little looking back from history, and we're going back. The biggest thing that we had in history is, like, I remember doing the Oregon Trail, like, on my computer, and that's the one thing that got me interested in learning that whole story, So even bringing up the hot dogs and seeing that. So that's all, again, starting at 1 o'clock on the 8th.
Absolutely. And there's going to be performers. There's going to be people on stilts and magicians. And thanks to Carol's ingenuity, I don't know how she arranged this, but we were able to get a carousel. So definitely stop by for that, because there's going to be a carousel, a petting zoo with a potbelly pig. My hope is that maybe we can name it.
Oh, yay.
Wouldn't that be fun?
That's got to be a contest, like a Gail Borden contest on what you're going to name the potbelly pig.
Fun? We'll see if we can convince them.
Well, lots of games, too.
Absolutely. So many games prizes for kids to play and enjoy. Everybody wins at Gail Borden. So you're definitely going to be walking away with a whole bunch of prizes, a whole bunch of fun, hopefully a full stomach, and a little more knowledge about the library, and maybe some books, too. Hopefully, definitely some books. And, of course, signing up for summer reading if you haven't already.
And getting a library card if you don't have one.
So many things.
That's me. That's Leah Shining Bright right here, willing to get that. But again, like I said, once I found out about it, I purposely am holding off just because we want to do a show on it, because I wanted everybody to see how easy it is. And I think, Nikki, you had said you've got it down to 4 minutes.
Oh, absolutely. 4 minutes. We time it.
Carol, let me go back to you a little bit here. Mentioning the different departments that you have at the library, I know this is a group effort. Everybody has to do their part in order to make it the success that it is. Are there things coming up that we might want to share, in honor of the 150th anniversary? I know we've got the fair coming up, and I know that you, if I remember correctly, aren't you the Grand Marshal, or is the library the Grand Marshal of the 4th of July Parade?
Yes, we certainly are, and we will have quite a showing. Our ever-famous book cart drill team will be performing, and of course we've got our bookmobile and our technomobile, and we're going to be showcasing those. So it's quite an honor, and we are really looking forward to that.
I was speaking with, and I think is it Tish is the one that's running the drill team, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I was speaking with her last week, and for some reason in my head, you just picture like synchronized swimmers and having them perform, but using the bookmobile, using the carts for that, which I think is great fun. So first of all, that had to be an honor. I mean, were you? I don't know how that comes about when you have the assignment of Grand Marshal, but that says a lot for the library. And you've always been in I've been here at least 10 years. You've always been an avid supporter and presence at the fair, talking about the summer reading program especially.
Yes, we've got a very, very good working relationship with the city of Elgin. And so when they approached us and said, they would like to make us Grand Marshals, we were very honored. Yeah. And the way we look at it is not just an honor, but it's another way to promote the library and the services that our residents should take advantage of. And because we have a lot of things going on at the library. Let me just add, this Thursday, we're going to be having a program with Jerry Turnquist, another history program, History of the Library and Elgin. And then also another fun thing, in October, we're going to have Dr. Leslie Goddard coming. And we're trying to, how do we fit this into the 150th? Well, she found out that Louisa May Alcott wrote a short story for the Elgin Almanac, which we learned was first published in 1874. And she wrote a short story somewhere around there. And so Dr. Leslie Goddard is going to portray Louisa May Alcott in October. And she's fabulous. She's a historian and an actress. And that will be well worth marking your calendars for. I don't have that exact date, but you got a few months here before that happens.
That to me, like I said, there's always something on the calendars. And again, another reason why you should have one of the Gail Borden Library booklets. If you didn't get it in the mail, watch for it. They do it bi-monthly, so every other month. So this one is going to be for June and July. Is that right? Or July?
That one's May, June, and the next one will be July, August.
There you go. We're going to talk a little bit and recap the open book today. We're going to take one quick commercial break. Then we're going to come back, do a recap, tell you what's happening again as a reminder for anybody who may have not been listening earlier or just tuned in. And then also we'll tell you what's on the docket coming up for the month of May. This is Open Book with the Gail Borden Library.
Attention all Schaumburg Boomers fans. Attention all Schaumburg Boomers fans. Come out for a great night of baseball at Wintrust Field at 1999 Spring and Scoot Road in Schaumburg, Illinois. Join us May 18th versus the Florence Yalls for Bark in the Park. Bring your furry friends for a day at the ballpark. Presented by Gulf Rose Animal Hospital. With a pregame catch on the field and pregame autographs presented by Wintrust.
In the middle of the night, everything will be all right if you listen to Coast right here on WRMN, 7 days a week from midnight to 5 a.m. Each night on Coast to Coast, listeners are captivated by George Noory with discussions on news and current events, conspiracy theories, UFOs, life after death, and all things curious and unexplained. Coast to Coast, every night, midnight to 5 a.m. right here on WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Discover the authentic taste of Italy at Mazziano's Pizza and Pastaria at Route 20 in Nestler in Elgin. There is one true fact of everyday life that never dulls: the simple pleasure of eating great Italian food. At Mazziano's, they'll make sure your dinner or lunch will be the best part of your day. Whether you have a taste for pizza or any of Mazziano's homemade Italian recipes, like ravioli or lasagna, they can also cater your party. Enjoy it any way you like: delivery, carry-out, or dine-in. Visit Mazzianos.com.
Do you own an annuity, either fixed rate, indexed, or variable? Are you paying high fees and getting low returns? If so, Annuity General would like you to have this free book to learn the pitfalls and mistakes of buying an annuity. The Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers contains the little-known truths about annuities, like how to help reduce your fees and increase retirement income. And it's free. That's right, free. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report just for calling. We researched over 1,000 annuities and summarized rates and benefits from financially strong insurers. You get annuity do's and don'ts for baby boomers and the annuity rate report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today. Hurry, supplies are limited. Call now.
800-760-1845. 800-760-1845. 800-760-1845. That's 800-760-1845.
Keeping your car's coolant system in good shape with a regular flush is really important. Let the experts at Meineke Car Care Center at 376 Sundown Road in South Elgin remove your old coolant, preventing chemical buildups in your engine. Then they'll fill your entire system with new coolant to help your engine run smoothly and prevent rust and corrosion, increasing your engine's lifespan. To schedule your appointment, call 847-888-9644.
The lightest, fluffiest pancakes are calling your name at JoJo's Diner, 1935 West Gulf Road in Schaumburg. JoJo's has a huge breakfast menu featuring skillets, eggs Benedict, and so much more. Don't stop at breakfast. JoJo's also offers great burgers, sandwiches, and shakes. And for mouth-watering prime rib, try JoJo's for dinner. They have such a versatile menu. JoJo's Diner is family-owned and operated, and it's one of Schaumburg's best-kept secrets. Visit jojosdiner.com today.
And once again, Open Book is here right now. Hello, everybody. This is Leah with WRMN. We are on our second edition of Open Book. For those out there who might not be familiar, Open Book is heard every Monday from 1 until 2. I'd recommend that you make sure you put that on your calendars or do a little sync in. If you want, you can follow us on our YouTube page and make sure you click on the little bell. That will alert you every time somebody from Gail Borden Library is joining us in the studio. Real quickly, we want to remind you, Open Book joins here and is coming to you from our friends over at KCT Credit Union. So as we are coming back to the screen right now, I do have Carol Metal joining us in the studio, as well as Miss Nikki Marabati, and they are not only the CEO for the Gail Borden Library, but also the elementary service manager K through 5. And Carol kind of hinted on that a little bit before you went to the break, because not only are we getting ready for summer, but that's not to be forsaken that there's a lot of things that are still going on right now. And you teased a little bit about it with Jerry, but first of all, Nikki, we were chatting during the break, had mentioned Baby Fest. What is Baby Fest, Nikki?
Absolutely. So Baby Fest is really all about celebrating birth and children 0 to 1 year old or 12 months. And it's another community sort of partnership where we bring in local supports. We tie it in also with local hospitals and community members. And this year, in honor of our 150th, we have a reading challenge. So this is for parents who are expecting and or those who just have little ones. And it's also tied to our Welcome Baby program. So if you have a little one of that age, you can come in, sign them up for a library card, and we have a whole package of goodies for you to kind of help you with that first year, as well as free books and some additional resources and information. And we also give you a customized tour so that you can kind of start those little ones early on the path to literacy.
And I think that also says a lot for the parent. I'm sorry, Carol, but I think that says a lot for the parent, because it also, again, grooms you to prepare for reading and getting in the habit. It's a habit, just like there's people who don't want to drink water. Once you start doing it, it's a habit, and you know it's a necessity. Now, the book reading, especially for kids as they grow older, and I know, Carol, you were going to mention something too, so about the Baby Fest.
Well, just that during the month of May, if you read 150 books to your baby that's on its way or it's just been born, you will be eligible for prizes that have been funded by our Gail Borden Library Foundation. So it's another way to focus in on our 150th anniversary.
I was wondering, so do you have these thought sessions? Because some of the ideas you guys come up with are phenomenal. Even this Baby Fest or talking about it. How do you determine which direction? Because there's probably a zillion things that you could choose from in order to get people active. How do you determine that? Is there groups that you get together? Is it overall part of the library?
People will, staff will have ideas, bring them to a committee, or maybe a committee is formed because of the idea. Like this, we have a committee just for the June 8th fair that's coming up. And we can see if they're doable. Sometimes if they need additional funding, that's not in our budget. Our foundation has been very generous in supporting these causes.
And you mentioned a little bit before we went to the break that this week, Jerry Turnquist, which is a name that a lot of people are familiar with at the radio station here because he does 100 years in Elgin. He's going to be coming out on Thursday. Is it Thursday this
Thursday
week?
night, yeah.
And what can people expect on Thursday?
Oh, I can tell you because he swore me to secrecy, but there is going to be a really fun trivia game, and he's testing out your knowledge of Gail Borden Library, a little bit of Elgin history in there. So if you watch, or if you listen to his program here, you might have a step ahead, and it's going to be a really fun time. And of course, he'll be bringing his Jerry style with so much knowledge and background, and he can answer any question you have about Elgin and Gail Borden.
He's a fun, smooth criminal, I always say, because he has such a great knowledge, and he definitely has a defined voice. We've known that here about that service that we offer on the radio. And then there's other things that you have there too that I wanted to real quickly touch on, because Kevin O'Connor, anybody who may have been here in the last month or so saw that Kevin came and joined us in the studio. He happens to be an Elginite, so I can't think of a better way to focus it, especially during the 150th anniversary when you have an author that's from this area talking a lot about this area. I know we were quite honored even to have him mention WRMN in the book. And so he's going to be coming to the library. I think on the 30th, he's going to be coming out there. And I saw, and I'll mention this one to you, Carol, real quickly. There's other things that people can find out, not only from what we're talking here on Open Book, but also right here.
Right, in our newsletter and then also our website. That is going to be the most up-to-date information. We always like people to gailborden.info, and they will find everything that's in the newsletter, plus more.
And if we want to ask people here, what are the hours of the library, just in case somebody is curious?
The hours are Monday through Thursday, 9 to 9, Friday and Saturday, 9 to 6, and Sunday, 12 to 5.
Good to know. Miss Carol, thank you so much for joining us today. Carol Meadows, CEO, and then again, Miss Nikki, of course, the elementary service manager, K through 5. Didn't need a write-up for that one. After I say it enough,
got it
it's
now.
there. That's what Memory and the Library does for you, everybody. Well, I want to thank you guys very much for joining us today. And again, we'll be back next week with the Gail Borden Library, brought to you by KCT Credit Union. See you then.
Heroes at 4870 North Harlem Avenue in Harwood Heights, Illinois. Check out the full menu at twinzeros.com. Twin Zeros Restaurant in Harwood Heights not only serves traditional gyros, but also has chicken gyro sandwiches. Twin Zeros also serves a variety of sandwiches ranging from cheeseburgers and Vienna beef hot dogs that have recently been inducted into the Vienna Beef Hot Dog Hall of Fame. Italian beef, Italian sausage, and combo sandwiches. To ethnic favorites such as Slovaki and Grecian chicken. Slovaki is shish kebabs, specifically chicken or pork shish kebabs, grilled to perfection, served on a warm pita with tomatoes, onions, and our homemade tzatziki sauce. You can also enjoy barbecue ribs served every day. Twins is open 7 days a week and also delivers locally. Located at 4870 North Harlem Avenue in Harwood Heights. Check out the full menu at twinzeros.com. That's twinzeros.com.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 2 o'clock.
With your AM 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Kernan. Brought to you by Prevnar. Elgin Police Officer Jordan Collins has been charged with 5 counts of possession of child pornography. The 33-year-old officer who has served the Elgin Police Department for 5 years was arrested while on duty. Elgin's